And while we're here, when you donate, you get to take the money and put it. Oh, you got a game on the screen.
Hello.
Hi, Laurie. How are you? Or I'm sorry, LaurieDBunnykins. How are you?
I am doing good. Also, calling me just Laurie is perfectly fine.
Okay, I didn't want to overstep that boundary.
No,
that
you're all
quickly.
good. Welcome to Off. If you don't know what it is, it's an RPG Maker game released late 2000s, translated into English early 2010s, and it kind of got crazy popular at the time. Obviously, the internet kind of has changed in terms of what gets popular and how things get popular in the past 10 years. So this was really interesting to play, a game to play for the first time this year, and I decided to learn it, and it's a really fun speed game. So I'm going to get started. I have to go through a few settings before I actually can start the timer. Wag, I need you to give me one letter. It can be uppercase, lowercase, any letter.
W.
Uppercase or lowercase?
Let's go lowercase.
All right, lowercase W. I want to have a one-character name because that means in text there's a lower amount of text scrolling. And with that being said, I'm all ready to go. So I will count us down. We can begin in 3, 2, 1, go. So I'm sorry in advance if you can hear this, but there's going to be a lot of text mashing in this game. I don't have an instant text scroll button. I have to manually mash everything I can in the when it comes to dialogue in this game. I can mash with both the confirm and cancel button. So if I want to say no to a text box, I can, which is going to be good when we have to make a decision in text, like coming up here. Zone 0 is basically a tutorial area. So while I'm here, we're going to meet the judge and the batter, two major characters. I'm going to be controlling the batter, although this is technically one of those games where I'm me, the player, is kind of a character, and my player character is a different character. It doesn't really play too big a role in the gameplay. Point is, there's a combat tutorial here, and I'm not going to do it. So, that's that. And then we get into what this game has a whole bunch of, which are these puzzles. This puzzle starting off here is fairly elementary. I just have to press the right box in accordance to the numbers that appear. However, the game kind of gets more complicated with them, so there's a lot of puzzle memorization in this run, like you're seeing me do right here. There was kind of no hint to help me with that puzzle, but I still knew what to press. And that's going to be cutting down a lot of the time on this run, is that by knowing everything ahead of time, I can just input a puzzle and get out of the area very quickly. So I'm going to return to the nothingness, which is kind of like a world map, and that is going to be it for Zone 0. And we're going to move into Zone 1. One thing I like about this game a lot, that you've probably already noticed, is the use of color. The only thing that has color really in the whole game is the landscapes and backgrounds. All the characters and major objects are completely black and white, and I really like that aesthetic a lot. So in Zone 1, we're going to get quite a bit of exposition into how the world works. A lot of really good world building. And we're going to see a lot of cutscenes like this about the elements of the world, which aren't quite what you'd think. If you know something like maybe Avatar, for example, the first element we're getting introduced here is smoke, which is what the people here breathe. The reason why we're getting introduced to this now is because the first area we step into in Zone 1 is the smoke mine. So after this cutscene, we're going to get into the mines. It's basically air, yeah. So after that cutscene, yeah, we're gonna have this guy tell us that, hey, somebody saw something weird in the annex tunnel. We were given a role at the beginning of the game. It was to purify the world of specters, which have been popping up a lot recently. And so the person's like, maybe this weird thing in the annex tunnel is the leader of the specters. It is not the leader of the specters. It is actually an add-on. Add-on Alpha, to be exact, is our first party member we're getting in the run. And party members will be helpful when we get into battle, which we'll be getting into our first battle very soon. We're going to tell this guy that the Spectre Chief wasn't there, and we're going to head into the mines for real. So coming up to our first battle, there are 2 battle modes in this game, attack and auto. When you click attack, you're able to choose what command you want to do. And when you do auto, the game will use some sort of formula, I don't really understand it too much, to pick an attack for you to do. Since I'm level 1 and haven't gone into any battles, I have no skills or anything like that. So I'm going to pick just because it's faster for the game to auto-pick a standard attack for me, me picking out the attack and having to do a few extra inputs. I missed an attack. You just saw Alpha did not deal any damage to that enemy. I believe the miss rate on a standard attack in this game is 10%. So 1 in 10 standard attacks you do will miss. Fortunately, we're not going to be doing standard attacks as our main attack method for too long, but every time we have to do a standard attack, that will become an issue. Now that battle's over, though, we are getting some healing items, luck tickets. There are like a few battles we use items on, and I'm going to get another set of items here that are going to be status healers. And I'm going to be saving a bunch of these items for just one fight about halfway through the run. While I'm in these mines, I'm also going to grind a little bit because I want to get Alpha, the add-on, to level 2. The lowest amount of encounters I can do this in is 2 encounters. However, that requires a specific enemy layout, and with me getting that big guy first, unless I get a specific encounter, I'm not going to get it in 2 battles, and I'll have to grind for longer. Yeah, I got another big guy. There are three enemy encounters you can get in the mines. You can get the big guy, 2 floating heads. Ooh, I got a nice crit, though. A big guy, 2 floating heads, or 3 floating heads. And the ideal combinations are a big guy and 3 floating heads, or 2 sets of 2 floating heads. If you get 3 floating heads on your first encounter, you're guaranteed a 2 encounter mines. Speaking of 3 heads, I'm okay with extra EXP happening at points, especially with triple heads, because this is just a checkpoint for one part of Zone 1. There is going to be another part later in Zone 1 where I'm going to want to grind to a specific level again, and that's going to be, I want to be level 4 by the time I fight the first major boss. So I'm okay with getting some extra EXP because it might mean I have to do 1 less encounter later. But now that I'm level 2, I'm going to leave the smoke mines, and we're going to get to be introduced to the second element, which is metal. I should clarify that elements do have a play in attack. The batter will, as you level up, gain skills that do damage with each element. There's only one battle, I think, where the elemental, like a lot of enemies have elemental strengths and weaknesses. I think there's only one battle in the run where the elemental strength weakness actually dictates what attack we do. Otherwise, we usually just try and go for the strongest attack that we have. And there's going to be some really strong attacks we get later where I'm going to get a lot of levels all at once by doing an optional boss kind of earlier than intended. Interacting with a save point, as you saw me do there, even if I don't save at the point, it heals me. So I'm going to be doing that a lot, is I'm going to be I'm going to be interacting with save points just to get healing. Now that Alpha's level 2, he has his first competence, which is this game's version of skills. I think competence is one of the many names in this game that it's named what it is because the translation from French, which this game was originally made in, to English was not like 100% accurate. The version of the game I'm playing on is actually not the most up-to-date version of the translation. But the action bar, as you notice, this game has an action bar battle system where you need to wait for the bar to fill up before you can attack, moves faster on this version than the current version of the translation. So runs opt to play on this version. Yeah, competence, someone in chat saying it sounds like it could be a literal translation. Yeah, there are some literal translations that are used. Later in the game, there's a song called Windows Licking that I think in French it should translate to window shopping or something like that, but it's like a literal translation of the name.
Wow.
I think objects also is one of those things that falls into the literal translation trap. So I've been getting bad luck in this area, and Alpha has been getting attacked every time. So before going into this battle, I'm going to heal so that Alpha doesn't die in this battle. You might have noticed throughout this whole barn I've been in, I have to clear out this barn. Okay, Alpha didn't get attacked, so I would have been fine, but it's better to be safe than sorry. I've only been attacking with Alpha. That's because against these enemies that are in the barn, if the batter does anything with this turn, you can either use an attack or use a skill or use an item, an extra enemy will be summoned. And it's not like another big enemy, it's like something you can take out with one shot, but it's still insanely obnoxious. So you opt to do that fight without using the batter at all. Yeah, I agree that the literal translations help with the seriality of this game. It's just funny. I'm going to heal again, because you don't actually heal on level up, so I want all the competence points back on Alpha. Alpha's skill there we have, Saturated Chain, is really good. And we're going to get an even better version of it later in the run, so... You don't need to, like, manage party members in this game. All the party members you get, you keep in your party, so... We're really just going to have more skills and more party members as we get further on. Here, the mines are dark. However, I know where to go, so it's not going to be much of a problem. You're level 3, not level 4 like I thought you were. So yeah, now I'm going to be just taking every encounter I can if I get one. There's only, like, 2 places where I'm actually going to be, like, getting encounters at this point. Technically 3, but one of them rarely happens. And as I mentioned earlier, by the time I reach the first major boss, I want to be level 4 on Alpha. Batter is already level 3, meanwhile Alpha's still level 2. And here we're going to get to the third major element cutscene, which is plastic. I never explained plastic, or metal provides the land that all these people walk on. Plastic, I don't quite remember. I think it's something like, without plastic, the world would be limitless and people could walk wherever they want. Which is a really interesting take on things.
During the cutscene, do you have a moment or two for a donation or two?
Can I explain one thing quickly?
Oh no, take your time.
Okay, so that guy explains that the specters come from the post office. However, nobody remembers where the post office is. Since the puzzles in this game are not randomized at all, I actually remember the number where the post office is. So as I go through the post office here, there's another puzzle I'm supposed to do where I'm supposed to find another code, but as I mentioned, it's not random, so I know the code, so I can just sprint through the post office. And while I'm doing that, you can read all the donations you want.
All right, we got a couple in. The first is from Fizu, $17, who commented, "I feel complicit in the Rags to Riches run, so I'm throwing in $1 for every NPC encounter as well. Best of luck with the rest of the marathon." We also got 10 from Savage Wizrobe, who did the Mario Kart 64 run earlier. His comment is $5 for each of the 2 lightnings I got in the Mario Kart 64 run and used against the CPUs, and now COVID-19. We're over halfway to the goal. We can do this.
Thank you very much. So, I put in the code that I mentioned earlier there, and now we're going to meet the first boss, but we're not going to fight them yet. This is Dead End. So, the way that this is structured is that the enemy we're trying to fight that we believe is causing the specters is kind of like the overseer of all of Zone 1, which in this case is Dead End. So we meet Dead End here, and he gives us access to Alma, which is another region within Zone 1. It's the last region. There's still, like, puzzles and stuff to do there, but it's where we're going to get the boss fight, and it's where I need to make 100% sure I'm the level that I want to be for the boss fight. I need to answer some quiz questions here. and then I get into a fight. At this point, fights get a lot more annoying because, as I mentioned, one of the best things we have for battles at this point in the game is Saturated Chain from Alpha, and these little enemies with the long tail have a move that drains CP. So if I keep getting hit by that, I'll have less Saturated Chains to use. Alpha just hit level 3. That seems good. I think EXP-wise, I should be good if I get an extra encounter in this area, which this is the last area where I can get extra encounters. There are a few more scripted encounters I need to do, 3 to be exact. However, there are also parts where I can get random encounters, which I might need one of. This is the last of the 4 elements we're going to get introduced to in Area 1, Zone 1, rather. This is neat. And as he says, without meat, people would have nothing to eat. Also, I forgot that this guy battled you, so I lied. I actually have 4 more required encounters in this area. Yeah, Square Game. You just saw it in action there. Square Game drains your competence points. It is horrible, and I hate it. So I'm going to heal because I just had all my stuff drained, and Alpha is also pretty close to dead. And now I need to go through this last area. So that door that was blocked off right there, I want to get in there. I need to go all the way around this area to open the door. And then I need to go in the door, and there's a maze in there that I want to do. So at this point, it's a really good time for any announcements you want to make, or if we got any more donations in that short amount of time.
No more donations yet, but I can always find something to read off.
We have some incentives coming up, right?
Oh, yes, we do. Well, I think all the incentives that we have for now have been met. There was a Breath of Fire incentive for the Chun-Li bonus cutscene, but that did get met. But we do have a couple of polls for games coming up. There's a Ring Fit Adventure, which has a bid war going for what language is going to be selected. That could be either Japanese or English. Right now, Japanese is leading $80 to English is $30. In addition, another run for Killer 7, which is coming up, not the next run, but the run right after that. There's an option to either kill Japan or save Japan. Right now, Save Japan is winning by with $119. Kill is sitting at $87, so that's pretty close. So if you want to influence any of those, get your donations in now. Which I guess, if you want to get your donations in now and you need to know how to do that, I'm going to throw an exclamation point donate in the chat just to get that information in there. And you can either click on the link in the chat, or if you're watching elsewhere, if you scroll down to the on our Twitch page, there's a donation link down there. Click that and it'll take you right to the donation page.
I got pranked, by the way, so I have no more competence points on Alpha. Oh. Fortunately, when Batter leveled up to level 4, I gained Run with Courage, which is a very good battle skill that the Batter learns. So I can still do some stronger attacks in this portion of the game. However, not as much as I would like. Alpha is like 1 battle. If he doesn't level up right here, I'm 1 battle away from leveling up. I'm 1 battle away from leveling up. So I don't really need it at this point, because the enemy that I'm going to encounter at this point, this one right here, isn't going to be another one that can drain competence points. So I just need to do a little bit of slapping. And we will be all good to head to the first boss. Alright, adversaries purified. Alpha achieved level 4. Okay, so Alpha learned a new skill on that level up. However, that wasn't really the purpose of the level up. It was mainly just to get more attack and health. That skill is going to be used later, so I'll explain it now as I'm going through this maze. A Weighted Embrace is the first attack that you get on a party member in this game that can deal poison damage to an enemy. some bosses that we're going to fight in this run have a weakness to poison, where they can somewhat easily get poisoned. So that's going to be helpful. This boss isn't one of those. However, on the stat-wise, this game does have equipment that you can use to upgrade your attack and defense. We're never going to buy any in this run. So, every stat that we get is going to be based off of our level up. And now we're in the first boss. We're finally fighting Deaden. Deaden is one of the two major luck-based checkpoints of this run. So he has a few specific attacks he can use. And here are mainly two status conditions that he can afflict on you. Those being Rage, or Furious, which is makes it so that you can only do standard attacks. And he can make you fall asleep, which means that you can't move. Your action bar doesn't move while you're asleep. He is one of the trolliest things in this game because of those two status elements. And the fact that we're not very high leveled right now. So on top of making sure that, status effects don't happen to me, which I do have status healing items, but I'm saving them for a boss later in the run, so I do not want to use them. I also need to make sure that my HP and CP levels are at high enough numbers to where I'm not in danger of dying, because I do not have any revive items at this point, and also that I can keep doing high damage skills. I did pick up in the mines some pieces of silver flesh, which are items that you can use to heal competence points, so I can use more skills. This isn't a very... Okay, yeah, now we have someone that's furious, and I'm actually out of silver flesh. I only had one. That is really bad luck. There are some enemies that can drop it, which is where I was hoping to get most of mine from, but apparently I got really bad luck on those drops. Which means I'm going to try and use Alpha as a healer more. I accidentally used my scan skill, and not the attack skill I wanted to use. I've never had this situation before, fun fact, where I only have one silver flesh item. So this fight is going to be very interesting. These speech bubbles, as they appear, I want to take them down basically instantly, because they just become nuisances. So yeah, at this point, I really just need to hope everyone survives as I keep throwing out attacks. Okay, Furious is fine, because I can't really do anything other than attack, and I still have a character that can heal as need be. Alright, we beat the boss. I wasn't expecting that to happen. Let's go. So that is the end of Zone 1.
I'm still stuck back on where the skill point recovery item is called Silver Flesh.
Yeah. There's Golden Flesh, which is an even better recovery item.
Recovers more
yes.
stat points? Yeah.
So now we're going to head to Zone 2. Zone 2 is the second zone. That's really all I have to say about that. It's the second major zone, and this one is much less focused on the working that you saw in the first one. We're going to see a lot more working stuff in Zone 3, a little bit of a spoiler. This one is more community-based. There's like a housing area, there's a library, there's a theme park, and like a shopping center. And that library I mentioned is the first place we're going to be heading into, because there's something bad happening. Someone is ripping out pages from the books. This is the part where I realized that I forgot to do something. So before I go do that, I'm going to go to the western portion here and buy a book page. Also, I should mention, that's how you navigate the city. Those arrows on the wall outside the library kind of acts as the center of the zone, and the arrows on the wall dictate whether you're in north, south, east, or west. And there's a different thing in each section of the zone. So now that I bought that book page, I'm going to put it here. This puzzle is essentially you just have to put all the book pages in the right place. However, one of them isn't in here. You have to go buy it from that guy. So it's the first thing. It's usually the first thing that you do. You're supposed to do it before you even step into the library, but I just kind of forgot about it. I don't need to battle standard enemies at this point, so I'm going to get into an encounter here. I'm going to flee. You usually see an encounter in this part. But it's fine. Once I put this page in, you're going to hear a sound, and that sound will imply that I put everything in the right page, or put everything in the right book, and we tell it to the librarian, and they'll open up the 4th floor for me. The 4th floor is where we want to be, because it will be the first major encounter of Zone 2. I'm going to heal, and then I'm going to get into the fight. So this is Japhet. This is another case where we're basically immediately going to introduce the leader of the zone. So Japhet's leader of the zone. They are this cat. We are going to beat up this cat. This is the first major fight where we can poison the foe to hopefully make the fight go much faster. You can see with every skill that's being used by both me and Japhet that they're taking this extra 51 damage. That is the poison in effect. Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah. That's potent.
Yeah. And poison doesn't go away naturally. This isn't the only fight we're going to poison. Once you see poison do lower damage than usual, like that whole fight, the poison was doing 51, and then on that attack it did 49, you can't die from poison, so it not doing the full 51 implies that they were at 1 HP after that poison came into effect. So that's the first fight, and we get add-on Omega for getting through there. So now we have another party member. And with that party member, we are going to go to the shopping mall and do some shopping. I'm going to buy 2 fortune tickets and 3 jokers are the items I want to buy. Fortune tickets are better healing items than luck tickets, which is what I was using to restore my health during the dead end fight. And jokers are revive items. There's a very difficult optional boss in this game that the run opts to do somewhat early in the game as a means of very quickly leveling up. However, if a party member is dead, they won't get experience from a fight if they're dead at the end of the fight. So I need to make sure that all my party members are alive at the end of that fight. So I buy a few of those extra healing and revive items just to be safe. And I've made it through this maze. This shopping mall was a maze, by the way. I didn't clarify that. So now we're going to do something fun. I'm going to activate this boat. And with this boat, we can now go over to the theme park. The theme park has an item we're supposed to get for continuing through the game. However, there's another fun thing we can do here. As you all, I believe, donated towards, there's a roller coaster you can ride here. And I made that a donation incentive, and you all met that. So I'll be riding the roller coaster here. If we pop balloons, you get items. So I popped a fortune ticket there. And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over to this fun little game and ride this boat. There's a certain part of this boat ride where I want to be trying to get to a certain switch. There are a lot of items on these boat rides. I'm not going to take any of them. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over here, and if I take the right path through here as to not hit any of the automatic movement tiles, I can make it to the lever preventing access to the roller coaster. And if we turn off the lever preventing access to the roller coaster, we can get access to the roller coaster. And with that being done, I will go ride the roller coaster. So over here, where this guy is, this gate is usually here, but I can just walk up here. Once I get up these stairs, there's a statue of the shopkeeper. I can push it onto the roller coaster with me and ride the roller coaster with him. I like how the sprite puts its hands up. And we get a picture taken of us. And we can get that picture. With Zachary, the shopkeeper. Look at that. What a good picture. I'll just leave that on screen for a few seconds.
Beautiful.
I'm not done here. Because you know what? I think we've been such good people in the stream. Just for you guys, I'm going to ride the roller coaster again. Except this time I'm not going to bring the statue with me. I'm going to go all by my lonesome.
The statue didn't put their hands up to you know, they didn't enjoy it anyway.
Yeah. So once we do that, we can get a different picture. So I now have this picture. Instead of the batter screaming in this picture, he just has his hands up. And that is everything to do with the roller coaster. That is what you guys donated for. Thank you very much for doing that. Fun fact I learned just a little bit ago when practicing this incentive, because I actually haven't done that roller coaster much. The roller coaster, the picture with only you can sell to the shopkeeper for oh, I messed up. Okay. I don't have audio on, so I have to play that game without the audio cues that I usually do because of the way I'm splitting audio to the stream. The point of that game is to make it so that the opponent is the last. It has to pop the final balloon. So the strategy is try to always make it pop so that at the end of the turn, 4 balloons have been popped between both players. And you get a necktie. That guy gets mad at you once you win the minigame and fights you, and you get a necktie from him. That allows us access in the next part of the chapter, but I'm not actually going to do that yet. I'm going to go back. I'm going to finish explaining what I was explaining earlier while I talk about this. So the picture with just you in it only sells for 100 credits if you bring it to the shopkeeper. However, if you bring the picture with the statue to the shopkeeper, you can sell it for 5,000 credits. So it is a much better investment. And actually, now that I have it in this run, the money route might be a little bit better for me. I don't think that's going to mean anything. I can probably get some extra items for the... I didn't think about this. This is actually good. Okay, oh, yeah, I should explain what I'm doing. So I'm in Zone 1 again. It has been purified. This happens when you return to a zone after you finish its main story. So there isn't, this post-game credit scene you can get. And to get it, there are these 5 items called the Grand Items. So you get all 5 Grand Items, and because of that, you get either the best weapon in the game or this special post-credit scene. One of those Grand Items is locked behind an optional boss. And to unlock that optional boss, you have to get another one of the Grand Items. So I'm going through Zone 1 right now to get the Grand Item at the end of this purified zone, so I can unlock the optional boss, so I can fight it, beat it, level up 5 or 6 times. I've already gotten 3 encounters here. You just want to run from these enemies because they're ridiculously strong the second you see them. And also, I've gotten 3 encounters here, which is 2 more than I usually get throughout the whole area, and they were all within the first half of the area. So that's fun. But if we have a quick donation to read or anything like that before I get into the optional boss, we have time for some.
Okay. I actually have a quick question about the optional boss. You mentioned an optional boss earlier for just experience jumping up a little bit. Is this the same one, or is this
Yes,
another?
there's only one
Okay.
optional boss in this game, fun fact.
Oh,
Yeah, it's the only one. So it's kind of cool that the any percent run gets to show it off, because
yeah. Typically, your any percent runs end up skipping a lot of that content.
Yep. And for this optional boss, I'm going to make a safety save, because it is not going to be first try. So yeah, now I can go back to Zone 0, and I can do battle with Sugar. She's a boss. So, as you can tell, I'm not very high level. My action bar is going up ridiculously slow. So, the main thing with this fight is those masks that it's holding. They each get their own turn every now and then. This boss is pretty weak to poison. So if I poison it, which I got an immediate poison, which is really good, it will take a bunch of damage just every time I move or its masks move. So now what I want to do is I want to wait for it to basically deal all of its health in poison damage while trying to keep all my party members alive. And she's using a lot of status moves, so she's not damaging my party members a lot, which is really good. Okay, and then once I do that, you have to kill these things by using an attack skill. You can't do it with a basic attack. She made one of my my party members furious, so that used a turn. But then I was able to take her down, and now I just need to wait for my action bar to fill up so I can take down these masks and end the fight. That was ridiculously good.
Yeah, that was first try.
That was first try, which I said it wouldn't be.
That was excellent.
Yeah, no, that is this, like, if that boss previously, like, deadened, I mentioned they were a luck-based nightmare, this boss is a luck-based, like, tragedy. But as you can see, yeah, everybody before that fight was, like, level 5 or 6, and now everybody's, like, level 10, 11. So, very good. We learned a bunch of good attack skills. I'm going to sell some items here. Did I sell the right thing? I did. So, I sold an item I got right next to the grand item in Zone 1, and then also, I sold I sold that, and I bought 7 expirations. Expirations they exist a lot in RPGs. They're your basic attack, they're basic damage dealing item. So, they're really good items that deal a decent chunk of damage regardless of your level, and we're going to be using them a lot on later boss fights in the game. So now we're in this community. We got the necktie from that minigame. We can go into the community, kind of jumping back into the story of this area. The community is going to be invaded by specters. So now we have 4 minutes to deal with 8 enemies. The 4-minute timer doesn't move in battles. It only moves on the overworld. So you actually finish this fight, this part of the game with a lot of extra time on the timer. One good thing that we're doing this after Sugar, and one good reason why you want to get good enough levels, like beating Sugar, before going to this part of the game, is because if these enemies get an attack, they're going to split up into a bunch of different enemies, and then you need to take, like, basically 2 or 3 turns with each individual character to kill them, and that just takes a bunch of time. So, you don't want that. You want to be able to deal with them before they get a single turn, that way they can't multiply and just become a huge nuisance. The only sad thing about that is that we don't get to hear the song for even longer, because the music in this part of the game is incredible. Oh yeah, I didn't explain that, but there was a waterfall there that doesn't have like wall collision. You can just walk on it like it's a floor, and that's slightly faster. So I did that. Also, something you might notice is that all of these enemies are dropping revive items. I don't really need them at this point, but they're cool. When I sell items later, they'll give me more money.
Do they come in handy just in case somebody, takes a fall?
At this point, I'll say yes. You know what? I will say yes, because there are still fights in the game that can poison me at this point. So, technically, a party member can take a fall, but, like, the chances of that happening are... Okay, well, the chances of them dying are pretty rare. I'm not going to say the chances of them getting poisoned are pretty rare, because I swear, like, the past, 5 practice runs I did have had somebody poisoned in, a major fight. So... Alright, there we go. That's going to be it for the Spectre invasion in the community. And now... what's it called? We're going to get kicked out. And at the same time, a kind of side plot where the judge is looking for his brother Valerie is starting to come to its close because the judge has found Valerie. So we have to climb to the very top of the library. If you have anything to say during this part, I'm just going to be climbing a bunch of screens, so it's your time to shine.
I do have an update on the Killer 7 Save or Kill Japan. It's called a poll, but it's like the bid war.
The bid war, yeah.
Kill Japan has jumped in front of Save Japan. It's now leading 137 to 119. So if anybody wants to save Japan,
I really just want to know. I really just want to know what's happening in that game to make that a bid war.
I've actually not seen anything about Killer 7 other than occasionally people talking about it on the internet, and it's been on my list of things I wanted to play, but then I saw it on the marathon, and I'm like, you know what? It's been out for years. I'm just going to watch it.
I'm
going to learn with you.
I heard earlier that Leaf is going to be skipping a lot of cutscenes, so honestly, we might not even get a full picture on the story, and I might still be able to play it to myself, because it does look like an interesting game. You've watched multiple runs of Killer 7 and still don't know what's going on half the time. There we go!
I mean, that's watching speedruns in general, though. You don't really know what's going on, you just...
I guess. Yeah. So, now this is Japhet. Valerie is... the judge's brother is the cat. Japhet is not actually the cat. Japhet is actually the bird that you see. So... right now, we're basically just waiting. I'm doing standard attacks because the damage that I deal right now doesn't matter. I just need to wait for the bird to appear for real and not be fighting this cat. And it's about to happen. So, now we're fighting a bird.
Whoa.
Yeah. This fight is pretty easy at this point because of all that leveling we did earlier. This boss can poison you, but honestly, there's like a very low chance of dying here, regardless of anything. So I'm not too worried. I'm just gonna keep slapping with skills, and eventually the bird will die. This song is really good, too. This game is really good music.
Looking at the sprite artwork, I think the first phase, or the smaller image, looked like a cat holding up a bird, and this looks like a bird holding up a cat, sort of.
Yeah,
holding up being very much a loose way of describing it.
I think what happened was the cat tried to maybe eat the bird, but couldn't, actually do it. And now the bird is basically wearing the cat like a scarf. Because he just kind of, exploded from inside the cat. Kind of weird.
Cat tried to eat bird, but bird ate cat.
I guess. Yeah, that's one way to put it. The bird is also dead. that happened.
Yeah.
And that is the
That
end
is a
of
dead
Zone
bird.
2. Yeah, it is. That's the end of Zone 2. And so we're not going to do anything silly this time. When it comes to Zone 3, we're just going to get in there and get out of there. Not literally. We're going to do the zone. I'm not going to do any crazy skips. I'm going to Zone 3, because that's the number that comes after 2, or so I've been told.
Zone 3, the third zone?
Yes. There is Zone 0. Don't forget that, though.
Yeah, does Zone 0 count as a zone, or is
It's
it
a
more...
tutorial.
It's like a prologue zone.
I guess. But, like, is prologue a number?
Sometimes?
Okay. From what Paper Mario has told me, yes, it's a number.
I can't argue with that.
So, Zone 3 starts off horribly. I'm going to be walking in a very specific path through this cafeteria. You're supposed to get a postcard that's supposed to tell you this path. However, that's slow to get, so I'm not getting it. Basically, there's a specific path you have to walk, and you have to get to 3 specific locations in this cafeteria. And if you take a misstep at all, you get stuck in this encounter that you can't run from. And once the encounter's over, you get warped back outside the cafeteria.
Ooh.
It's kind of horrible. Especially when I've had situations where on this path that I was just on to get to this encounter right here, I've had an NPC walk onto a tile and I didn't notice it. So I just kind of switched direction and stepped onto a bad tile. This part can get very annoying. Also, we just got a raid. Big shoutouts there. So that's that battle.
Oh yeah, thank you for the raid.
Yeah, welcome to Off. For context, we are in Zone 3, which is a major area in the second half of the game. Okay, it definitely sounds like my family's home now. I don't know if you guys can hear like the sounds from the ceiling, but they're there. We're gonna get our last party member, add on Epsilon. So, Epsilon majors in 2 things, and neither of them are too good in the case of the run. They can do attack and defense buffs, which seem good, but aren't actually used in this run. And then there's also multi-hit attacks, where Epsilon's skills can attack everybody in the battle at once. That gets used in, like, one situation. However, the attack skill that you use still does more damage than Epsilon's basic attack. So, you still use it. I'm out of A1 now. There are 4 areas here, A1 through 4. And with everything done there, we're now out of A1 into A2. A stands for area. So now I'm going to just have to go through this warehouse place, basically. Also, I got a golden flesh there, because I know you like that.
It sounds delicious.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is like a warehouse-type place. And I have to get to the 3rd floor. There's this enemy here. Their name is Von Gacy. That is important to know. I will explain why in a little bit, but for now I need to keep hitting switches. That's what this whole area is. It's hitting switches in the correct order. That implies actually hitting them. There we go. So I need to hit these switches, and then I need to basically just do the whole room again. And I'm getting into another encounter. Usually I only get 1 encounter in here, although as long as I can insta-flee, like as long as I don't fail a flee attempt, I don't really mind getting extra encounters too much. There is technically a surprise system in this game, where very rarely you can surprise an enemy, and that will let you start a battle with a full action meter. That happens so rarely. and it doesn't happen on bosses. So it's really only helpful in like Zone 1 when you are grinding for levels. So yeah, there we use Epsilon's ability, Abstract Tragedy, to make that fight a lot faster. Deal damage to every enemy. And now we're going to have to escape this warehouse. However, we've kind of made the workers a little bit crazy. You've noticed all this sugar in here, maybe? Sugar is a substance in this game that's... It's basically drugs.
Yeah, earlier you fought the other boss,
was named Sugar as well. Yeah, there was a lot of sugar in that room.
Yeah.
I don't really know the context behind that, because there's a whole lot of other things to tackle when you're talking about the optional boss Sugar. But Sugar is not just a person, it's also a tangible thing, just like in real life.
Hmm. Oh, do you have a moment for a donation?
Sure, go for it.
All right, I did. We received $50 from Haunter Noir. And they said this donation is in honor of my late brother. He loved the off community unconditionally, and it loved him back. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So now we have a mini game. This is the Mortal Fall, or Game of the Mortal Fall, something like that. Add-ons are going to be appearing as well as specters. I need to land in the center of 10 add-ons before the time limit runs out, without getting hit by 3 specters. If I get hit by 3 specters, I lose. If the timer runs out, I lose. It's random in this area where a object will spawn and whether that object is an add-on or a specter. So that can be a really funny showcase of like really minor yet somewhat frustrating luck where you just get 10 specters in a row. And now we're inside this weird place. We're going to get another elemental cutscene, except this one's going to be about sugar. Where we learn, as some people mentioned in chat, it's not only a drug, but it's made from people's ashes. Do with that information whatever you'd like.
I think I'm switching to diet soda.
Fair enough.
That's horrifying.
Yeah. This game's weird. This game's definitely weird. And they say that the director is responsible for supplying the sugar in a way, and the director's in Area 4. And wouldn't you know it, we suddenly have access to Area 4. We have another raid?
Oh, yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Welcome to Off. We're about to get into the later parts of Zone 3, and then we're going to go to the last area of the game. So you came in fairly late into this run. We're going to have to ride this monorail to the Area 4, where the boss is. On the way, though, it's going to get stopped. And while we get stopped, there's going to be this, because of this weird guy on the monorail track. And we're going to get into this encounter.
Ooh.
This encounter is one of the weirdest in the game. It's one of the most interesting, though, because this is where the game kind of flirts with, you know, what Undertale went into about, like, you know, how you can and maybe should spare people, but this game doesn't give you the option to do that. You get into an encounter, you're gonna get out of it by killing the enemy. So it's really interesting, because at this point, tones and themes just start coming together. I like this game a lot. Hello. But now that that's done, we can go. Something very specific I'm going to do is talk to this character here from the front, because if you saw the 2 very slow steps that my character took to get onto the monorail seat there, if you talk to the character there from the side, you will get stuck with that very slow stepping speed as your basic walking speed for the rest of the game. I don't know if that's on like the most recent version of the patch, but I know it's on the version that we use in speedruns. So you gotta be careful. We enter a code into that SNES controller, and we can go down. We're getting very close to the boss fight coming up. We just need to do one more puzzle, and then just walk upwards. There's something pretty funny we can do with this boss fight, but I guess before we get into it, if you have anything to announce or say, you have just the right amount of time.
I guess I should let people know what they're watching. They're watching Fastest Fur's Summer Showcase benefiting Global Giving's COVID-19 Relief Fund. Your donation to this fund will help stop the virus's spread and give communities on the front lines of the crisis the resource they need to act quickly and protect the most vulnerable. If you'd like to make a donation, click on the donate button below the stream window or head over to the chat window and type !donate. I'm just going to go ahead and just do that myself right now. Additionally, if you're wondering who we are, I'm glad you asked. Team Fastest Furs are a group of furry speedrunners dedicated to building a strong community and using our powers for good. Our community is welcoming and open to all, and we currently host 2 charity speedrun marathons per year. If you'd like more information, join us on our Discord channel, which, if you type !Discord in the chat like I'm about to, it'll just pop up for you anytime you want it. But I did it anyway.
What just happened? I just walked through him? I walked through him! But why? I encountered him at the bottom of the... What? Okay, so for context, this guy is too big. He's too big. So you're supposed to run away from him. I was going to do a nice little fun wrong warp. The flea chance just failed again. I was gonna do a fun little wrong warp where once you get to this screen, you walk up to him and counter him, run away from him, and then once you run away from him, you just wrong warp to this loading zone right here. That didn't happen. I somehow clipped through him, which I didn't know could happen.
So what you're saying is...
This has never happened before.
Oh, there we go.
Yes. What is this run? I beat the first boss with 1 silver flesh. That just happened. I think this is the weirdest run of this game I've ever had. And this is definitely a weird game.
Yeah, this is the weirdest run of this I've ever seen.
So now that... Have you seen a run of this game?
I have not. This is my first
one.
There
you go. Well, it's definitely 1-2C. So now we're in this fight. Those attacking items I bought earlier, the expirations, I'm going to use all of them I can at the beginning of this fight. And then this is the one fight I mentioned earlier where elements come into play. So at the beginning of the run, for a while, we were using the batter skill Run with Courage as our main attack skill on the batter. But then once we fought Sugar, we switched to using Attack with Grace. I don't remember exactly which ones, but both of those have elements attached to them. And the element that Run with Grace has, which is technically a stronger attack, Enoch here is resistant to. And the element that Run with Courage has, Enoch here is weak to. So we actually go back to using what is technically a weaker attack skill, just because the element it has helps us do more damage in this fight. This fight, though, other than that, is going to be the same as everything. I'm just going to mash my best skill that I can until the health bar is gone.
I admire the alternate layout for where the characters are standing, though.
Yeah, no, I love that, because this guy's just so big, he can't fit in that normal layout in this fight. I think he'll be dead pretty soon. Batter got furious, so there was some good damage I wasn't able to do for a little while there. But yeah, there we go.
Ah, beautiful.
That is that boss. So now, we've done Zone 1, Zone 2, and Zone 3. Where do you think we're going to go next?
Zone 4?
So this is the room.
Ah, darn.
Yeah, you know. Prologue, 1, 2, 3, room. I'm pretty good at math.
It's the Silent Hill numbering system.
Yeah. So this is Chapter 5. The room. So the room, as we're going to learn very quickly, plays with the brain. I'm just going to kind of walk in and out of rooms, and there's going to be different stuff happening, and I'm going to get sent to different places, and suddenly there's a lot of bears in this hallway.
Wow.
This is the other battle where the abstract tragedy skill from Epsilon comes into effect a little bit. We get to use it to attack all these bears at once. And while we wait for his turn, once he uses it twice, the fight will be over. There we go. So we keep moving. The chairs are now sad. They were happy earlier, by the way. There's a hallway I can go in here now. I enter it and immediately leave it. And that's the end of Chapter 5. Now we're going to go to Chapter 4. This is Chapter 4. It's the one after Chapter 5.
I mean, who's really keeping track?
Technically, it is and it isn't. I really don't know how the structure of this place works. But I think technically, with the way that things are going in this area, we're technically kind of traveling through time backwards. Because there's a reference to a comic, which we're actually going to have experience with later. Oh, it's Deaden, by the way. Deaden's going to talk to us like a friend. I'm going to go get a calendar page for him. And he's going to give me a book in return. The whole structure of this chapter is that the 3 zone leaders are... You're trying to make them your friends. And it's very interesting. Because the player doesn't have any idea what's going on at this point. I still don't know what goes on at this point in the game. It's great. I just know how to do it.
Yeah, I'm trying to follow along and... But...
Yep. So I have a book now. And I'm going to talk to the big guy stuck in the hole. And he's going to say, go find help. So then when I go to talk to the bird, the bird is like, is that a book? And I'm like, there's a big dude in the hole. And the bird's like, give me the book and I'll get the dude out of the hole. And so we do that. It's great. What's even better is we are going to go back down to the cottage down the hill where Deaden was, and this. Just all of this. And now that we've done all that, we're going to go into the sun. And now we're in Chapter 3. Chapter 3 sends us to a fake title screen. Once this little flashy icon ends. So the gimmick in here is that going through that doorway I just went through, in like that starting room, sends you to a fake title screen with one of 3 save files that you can load. And there's a different thing in each save file. I'm gonna skip everything by remembering codes, except not knowing how to type them in. There we go. So, we're skipping save file 2 entirely just by remembering puzzle solutions. You're supposed to go in save file 2 to get the second number you're supposed to give that guy there. Once you give that guy the second number, you get the Sagittarius card, where If you go in the upside down place, it will stop being upside down. And then you enter a code that you're supposed to get from save file 1, but I didn't get it because I memorized it instead.
Oh, that little perspective thing was...
It was really cool, yeah.
That was cool.
And that's the end of Chapter 3. And after Chapter 3 comes Chapter 2. I really like the music in this place. So in Chapter 2, I mentioned this earlier, but there's a comic. We're going to read the comic.
The names all start with the same letter for the first and last name. How weird.
So this is Boxer in Attack on Ballville, where we have to stop Ballman, because Ballman made a cloning machine and cloned himself a bunch and is taking over the city, and also stole our girlfriend. You know, the real plot to Rocky 5. Is Rocky 5 a real thing? I don't know anything about the Rocky movies.
Oh, I live in Philadelphia, and I couldn't tell you.
All right, sounds good.
There is a statue, but that's all I know.
So, in this battle, once it's our turn, I get to use a skill called Box Bomb that does this.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wham.
Wham. And fun fact, while this screen fades out, you can walk on it and push these guys around. It's great. So I finished reading that comic. And we are going to sell a bunch of stuff. I'm basically going to sell every item I have at this point. Like, literally everything. Even if it seems like it'd be good to have. I'll even sell the photo of me, even though I really don't need to. And then I'm going to buy expirations again. Because they're really good damage items. We can buy 21 of them. I guess for safety, even though it like never happens, I'm going to save here in case something bad happens.
We did get confirmation from chat that there is a Rocky 5 and indeed a Rocky 6.
Oh, okay. The real plot to Rocky 7. Honestly, I'd watch a movie about Rocky Balboa fighting off a cloning baseball player.
That sounds like a good movie. I mean, that could be a plot to a Rocky movie. I just wouldn't...
That sounds better than half the Rocky movies in concept alone. I haven't watched the Rocky movies. I've just heard some of them aren't that good. Oh, the final boss, by the way.
Oh yeah, by the way.
I'm finishing the game. So this is the queen. She's the queen. I got immediately poisoned. Hopefully I will immediately poison her back. If I did, that'd be pretty neat. I did. Very cool. So, she has 3 add-ons of her own. So, since I poisoned her, I'm going to do some extra attacking on her specifically. Although I do want to focus the add-ons a little bit, I do want to focus on getting some extra damage out to the queen since she's poisoned. Because those really long attack animations you're seeing where all this text shows up and the whispering happens, that's her attacks. So I do want her to die relatively quickly. Otherwise, those attacks will just keep happening and it'll just get more horrible and horrible. I just need to throw one more expiration here, and the fight's gonna be over. That was a... Nope, never mind. I have to throw one more. Now the fight's over. That was a pretty good fight. So that's the final boss. Time's not yet. Just a little bit more text, and then we have the only thing that makes sense to come after Chapter 1, Chapter 0. Now... a few cutscenes in this game after we've beaten major bosses, you've seen this baby sitting in this room. You might recognize that. What? What if we beat up the baby? All right, there we go. Baby's gone.
Oh, good job.
Thanks.
Way to beat that kid.
All right, that's the baby. There's one more fight we have to do. So at this point, the judge is going to come up to us. So this switch right here turns the world off. And the canon ending is the judge tries to stop you, you beat up the judge, you turn the world off because the queen failed in supplying for that baby. And that's why this world is so messed up. We're going to do the not canon ending where we are the judge and we beat up the batter because that one's faster. The judge has a lot of really interesting attack skills, and their fight literally 3 turns long. So I'm going to use that, and time will be when the battle 1 text pops up, which is right now time.
Wow. And the timer stopped at 1 hour, 9 minutes, 23 seconds.
That was still a sub 110? Damn.
And you had some... You did first try that optional battle.
Did not die. That is correct.
Oh, that was no death.
Yeah, that was a no death run. Wow. I will start the credits. However, I'm going to warn now that there's no more game audio. The credits song to this game is the... I think it's the original recording of Julie Andrews' Somewhere Over the Rainbow. I can't play that on stream without it getting taken down for copyright.
Oh, yeah.
But I can still let the credits run while I say my stuffs.
Oh, yes. Do you, yeah, that was a fantastic run. Thank you. Do you have anybody you want to give shout outs to, or community you want to put spotlight on or anything?
I want to give shout outs to basically anyone who's done runs of this game that I'm aware of, which in particular is 3 people. So I'm 3rd place in this game right now, and the other top 4 people are the Potato, Tootler Fiber, and Kiyoshi, who I want to give shout outs to all 3 of those people because they're all very good friends of mine that have watched me run this game and supported me in running this game. I'd like to shout out some of my friends also. Many of them have been in chat for talking to me all the time. And in particular, there are some people in chat who were the ones who introduced me to this game and basically forced me to play it. So big shout outs there, because I only got around to this game this year, even though it's been like very popular for a very long time. Other than that, I want to give shout outs to everybody in this marathon, because putting this thing together has been a lot of fun. And seeing the result has been even more fun. And we still have so many more games to play that all I have to say is thank you for watching, and please stick around for the whole weekend. It will be worth your time.
This is still day 1. We got 2 more days of this, and we're not even done the first day yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was excellent. Thank you very much. I went into this knowing almost nothing about the game.
And you know even less now.
I feel like I know less, but there's a thirst for knowledge there. And
it's a fun game to play. I'd recommend it. It's free, too. You can download it for free. So, nothing's stopping you. With that being said, though, the next game coming up is Hollow Knight, and I'm really excited about that run. So
yeah.
I'm going to sign off because I want to get that run going.
Yeah, that'll be coming up next. That's being run by Alexa Ember, and I guess the again, Hollow Knight, a game I should know something about, but I've been avoiding knowing anything about it because I've wanted to play it, and then it came up on my list today, and I'm like, all right, we're going in. I did a little bit of research, looked up some stuff about it, and after I stopped searching for Shovel Knight,
all right.
But
I'm aware we're, I think, a bit behind schedule, so I'm gonna say goodbye.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was a great run. Thanks everybody for watching. Just to give you an update on who we are, this is Fastest First Summer Showcase benefiting Global Giving's COVID-19 Relief Fund. We will be right back with Hollow Knight, run by Alexa Ember.